What's good? What's good? What's good, everyone? Back on Planet Faz. Welcome back. I'm Faz myself. I've got Wesley with me and NK as well, my two amazing guests who are always contributing to the channel. NK, big up yourself. Wesley, for the first time coming on Planet Faz, big up yourself. Everybody
Go.
tuning in, big up yourself as well. Today, we are going to deep dive into Malacia. As both of you know, especially NK, I've been very upset with the way Manchester United have been going in the transfer window. But I am 15% calm, 15% calmer than before, I guess.
Only
That's the truth.
15.
Only
Oh, yeah, only
15%
50.
because Frankie De Jong is probably going to take up 35, 45%. So, and then Martinez will take up around 25%. So, if you go on the order of players that I wanted, I think left back would have been like fourth or fifth. So I'm happy that the kid is here, but I'm not happy that Frankie De Jong isn't here yet. But we'll deep dive into it. How you doing, Wesley?
Yeah, I'm good,
Wesley,
man.
all the way from Netherlands, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah,
So-
brilliant. Thank you for giving me some time. And how you doing, NK?
I'm good, man. Just enjoying the nice weather here.
Yeah, I can see you're always enjoying with your beautiful partner and just relaxing, taking this time when
Yeah,
football's off, just spending some time with the missus, right?
you have to, man, because United can be stressful, as I can tell sometimes from you.
Right. Well, we'll deep dive straight into Malacia. Look, he's coming to Manchester United. It's a great time to add another player to the squad, but it also raises, in my humble opinion, raises some concerns that I'm going to address on this stream today. The first concern that I'm going to address with you, NK, is Alvaro Fernandez. Where does it leave the kid now that Malacia, a 22-year-old, has come in? Fernandez being 19 years old himself, a lot of us think he might be somewhat ready to have first team minutes. Do you think it's a time now to send him off on loan?
Um, I'm not sure whether on loan or maybe continue developing at the club, but yes, the thing is, the manager himself, I think he's known for promoting youth and bringing youth kind of like through. But in his first season, he need some time to kind of like get to know these players to find out what their strengths and weaknesses before he introduce them into the first team. You know, it's a big risk if you're going to like your first season in the Premiership to just say, hey, I'm gonna rely on a 19-year-old who has never had a Premiership appearance as like either as my number one left back or backup. What do you call left back? I feel like he need a year for the manager to work with him, understand him, and then for him to make the decision whether he's ready for the first team or maybe if he needs to go on loan. But that's what preseason is for. But in my honest opinion, I don't think he's ready for the first team yet. Maybe one more season of maybe on loan football, maybe under 23 football would do him much better.
Okay. I know, Wesley, you said yourself that you don't really follow the under 23s as closely as some of us. I
yeah,
myself, this is my opinion. Look, I go and watch the under 23s as much as I can. I think I've gone to like nearly 10 games last season. I'm gonna go to a lot more this season, especially this coming season, because of the manager that has come in. But in my opinion, look, Fernandez, I think he's ready to be in bench. I really do. I think even though he's 19, a loan spell now, considering obviously the 5 substitutions as well, considering if Alex Telles leaves. At the moment, we haven't heard anything about Telles leaving the club. So I think if Alex Telles doesn't leave the club, Fernandez goes on loan. But if Telles does leave, I think that'll be good for Fernandez to be just a almost third backup for that left back position in case something happens, because season is long. It gets cold in the UK. injuries start piling up. So yeah, I think it'll all come down to what happens with the preseason and what happens with Telles. Do you boys think, I'll start with you, Wesley, do you think Telles will have a position in Manchester United now that Malacia has come in?
I mean, never say never, but I think it looks very unlikely. Like the prospect of Malacia coming in, I mean, it certainly puts pressure on both Telles and Shaw. So I mean, I assume you don't start the season with, as you mentioned, Fernandes as well, like with 4 left backs. So that looks very unreal. Or I don't think that's going to happen. I think Telles will leave if the opportunity arises. I don't know if it's going to be on loan, because I don't know what his wages are, because that can also be an issue. But ideally, I think United want to move him on. That's what I think.
Okay.
But, yeah.
How much? I always like to ask this. How much do you think Telles would go for now in this current market, Wesley?
I mean, I don't know how much we've bought him for, actually. Probably more than 20 million. How much did we pay for him? Something like that? I think
like 15 or 10. I think it was 15, but it was definitely under 20 million though, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I think if you can get between 15 and 20, I mean, I would bite your hand off. I think that's very generous. I would probably assume. I think what's fair for him is between 10 and 15. I think that's just market value around now. I mean, he's experienced. Like he's a Brazilian international, so yes, that's on his side. So I think between 10 and 15, I think that's fair for him.
I mean, if you look at Andres Pereira going for 9 million, isn't it? Plus a couple of bit of add-ons.
Yeah.
We should easily be looking to get around the region of 18 million for Telles. And that would be very good business for us. We could do with that money, considering, which we're going to come on to, Mr. Sue looking to leave the club. We could definitely do with that 18 million pound. Let's dive into a bit of the league that Malacia has come from. Wesley, talk to me, because I know everybody's very excited that the players come in. Everybody's excited about his skills, his attributes, but let's talk about some of the differences between Premier League and Eredivisie. What I have, okay, actually, I'll let you go first, then I'll give my opinion. So you go on. What is some of the things that you have seen that the kid needs to improve on or could improve on?
I would say definitely defensive awareness. Like he's very good on the ball, but I worry a bit about his positioning. So that's gonna be really interesting how he develops that, because what I've seen from him with Feyenoord, like the back line, like sometimes the back line wasn't one line. Like sometimes Malacia was a little bit more too attacking, and so you need to have the intelligence, I think, for him to smell the danger. I think that's going to be a massive part, but that's also experience, right? So I mean, he played a fantastic match. Like I watched the Conference League final against Roma, and for me, he was man of the match. He was good on the ball, calm. Yeah, he held his line well, but yeah, that's definitely I think an issue. Like he's attacking minded, he's good on the ball, goes forward a lot, puts crosses in, but defensively, I worry a bit. Yeah.
Okay. NK, I'll come to you, because Wesley raises concerns about his defensive attributes, whereas I actually think he might be defensively a lot better than Luke Shaw in terms of his defensive attributes. But NK, you talk to me about how do you think he fits into the Premier League now? Because Premier League is a different ball game and a different beast, right?
Yeah, it's a very different ball game. But I think in his first year, like any new player that come into the first year, they gonna have that kind of like grace period where they need to adapt to the league. But one thing about him, he's like he's built for the Premiership. You know, he's a very physical player. You know, very strong. So always literally just want to be in your face, kind of a playing, and that's what the Premiership is. It's all about. He just probably needs to get used to like the intensity side of things and maybe the tactical side of things too. But in terms of like the way, like his style of play, I'll say like he's one of those players where his attributes will perfectly fit into how the Premiership is played.
Okay. Look, my analysis is I've noticed one thing when I've been watching some of his games and highlights is he has a tendency of switching off when the ball is on the other side. And that can be costly, especially in the Premier League, where you look at set teams, the way they switch the ball, the way they make it look like they're playing to one side, and then boom, they're cutting in. And not only that, I want to deep dive into. We understand we've researched all the things about this player's singular attributes, but as a team, how will he work in Manchester United, working alongside a possible Varane, alongside a possible Eric Bailly if he stays, alongside a possible Harry Maguire, the man who can't even command his own defensive back line. And also David De Gea. With NK, you've said you've seen David De Gea be a lot more vocal last season, probably a lot more vocal than he has been before. But how do you see him working with Man United's back line?
Well, one thing about him that I quite like is also like he's very good on the ball. So his passing is very good on the ball. So in terms of like the build-up play, when we obviously with the new manager, we're gonna be playing from the back, which is So I see him being very key with that, with the whole kind of like playing from the back, being able to kind of like receive the ball, because we do have that with like I think Wan-Bissaka in particular, where he's not really good with the build-up play. Luke Shaw is quite good when it comes to the build-up play. To be honest with you too. So that's something that he brings to the team too. He also have that energy, where he's able to run up and down the pitch. So in terms of like attacking to whoever is playing on the left wing, he'll be able to support them on the left wing too. And he's a very what do you call it? He's what you call an inverted fullback. So when I even watch him against Feyenoord in the first half, he was playing more as a fullback, where he was doing the overlap and going. But in the second half, I saw him more, his position was more like in the middle. So he spent most of the time like in the middle. And with United, where we're talking about, I think a lot of the fans got a concern in terms of like who's going to play like the DM position, because they don't feel like De Jong is your typical DM that they're looking for. What he offers is he offers like extra cover in the middle. So when they go and they lose it, because I saw him literally pick up balls in the middle of the pitch where he was giving through pass, and he actually done a beautiful shot that nearly scored from that middle position. I was very confused in terms of like, I didn't even know whether he was playing as a fullback or whether he was playing in the middle. And I think that kind of like what he offers, I think it helps the manager in terms of like being tactical, flexible, where he can literally like use him in different aspects of the game.
Let's talk about some of the expectations that we have from him. Like, we'll start with Wesley. I know you mentioned in a Twitter space, which I originally picked up, you said that he might not come in and straight away take Luke Shaw's space. A lot of people are thinking he's going to now take over Luke Shaw's spot in the team, and he's going to be a starter. I personally don't think so. I think he's more so going to give Luke Shaw a bit more competition. I think Luke Shaw is a more, I don't know how to best put it, but he has Luke Shaw. Obviously he's a much more senior player because he's been in the club for a long time. So that's one thing. But I don't see a new player coming and giving a senior player just to run for the money straight away. I think it'll take at least a solid season for him to ease in, and then maybe the year after you can see him starting a lot more games. What do you think, Wesley? Do you think Luke Shaw will start majority of the games next season?
I think so, yeah. Because you have to take in mind, I mean, completely agree with you what you said. Like, Shaw has the experience. I mean, he knows United. He's been there for a very long time. So I assume Ten Hag is going to trust Shaw. And I mean, it's good competition, as you said. Like, Malacia is a good player, and Malacia can learn a lot from Shaw. Like, competition is healthy, but the experience what Shaw has, it's in his favor. So yeah, I completely agree with you. Like, the expectation for me, for him should be all about development. I mean, bonding with your teammates. I mean, pushing each other to the limit, supporting each other. Like that's the basics, and then your chances will come. Like, when Shaw doesn't have a good game, you have to take a chance, and that's how I see it. So I completely agree with you that I think the expectation for him is just to be the second left back. Yeah,
I think it'll be very surprising to see Malacia start majority of the games, especially when Malacia could learn a lot about the league from Luke Shaw. That's one of the things.
I think he might end up going to the season as the number one left back.
Malacia,
think so.
He might well do. Like, you're right.
Because the manager is buying him for a reason, and obviously preseason is going to be very, very key. But one thing about the reason why I kind of like have him a bit above Luke Shaw is Luke Shaw in the past, managers have complained about his lack of tactical intelligence. You know when Jose said like, oh, it was his body but my mind on the pitch too. This Tim Hag is a manager too that tactically he's there. He gives players like a lot of information for them to go on the pitch and just know exactly what he wants from them. And Malacia is someone to that tactically is very intelligent. You know, I told you like doing the cup final, conference final, I saw him literally first up, his role was different, and then second up, his role was very different too. And I think tactically it's something that the manager is going to appreciate. So I won't be surprised if the start of the season he puts him in there over Luke Shaw. I won't be surprised. But preseason is going to be very key.
How do you think the Man United fans take it? The people who are Man United / England fans who obviously clearly see something in Luke Shaw.
I don't think they can take it anyhow anywhere, especially if the ball, if Malacia go in and start playing well. At the end of the day, as Man United fans, no matter who our favorite player is, we just want the team to do well and win games. And if the team is winning games, who knows? Some of the people that are so much like with the Luke Shaw in, we just change your mind to say, hey, you know what, this boy is very, very good. And then they might end up being what do you call it, their favorite player. You know, at the end of the day, players are people like players because of what they feel like they can do. And if someone coming in is doing much better than that, you have no reason but to support it and literally get behind them.
I think Malacia starts, in my opinion, if we get the Eriksen deal and the Frankie De Jong deal and the Martinez deal over the line. More so Martinez and Frankie De Jong. The reason being is this kid is very good at winning the ball and not just winning it, but then carrying it forward. He's very good at that. Now, once you carry the ball forward, you now need to obviously release the ball and pass it to someone. We know that Bruno has not been the best of the players when it comes to receiving the ball and making a rational pass, to say. He's had a really poor season for his caliber of player where he's not able to decide on the passes that he wants to make. A lot of the times his passes are either too late or too early or simply too irrational. Now, for him to link up with Bruno Fernandes, and also if you think Sancho goes on the other side and Rashford comes in on the left, Rashford has also not had a brilliant season. So now it comes that this player, he can carry the ball forward, but he can't do it all. He'll have to gel with the other players. And I think he'll gel a lot better with the likes of Frankie De Jong, who's a lot more calmer on the ball, who can also beat a man, who's really good. His dribbling is really good. Same with Eriksen, who can carry the ball really well. He doesn't panic. He's really good with his decision-making when it comes to short passes. And those are the things that will help enhance the team forward. Now, if you have Malacia, let's say, winning the ball, for example, looking on his right, and he sees Harry Maguire, you don't really think he's going to feel confident in making that pass. Let's say he does make that pass, Harry Maguire then fumbles and then passes it back to Malacia and Malacia gets pressured. Then what? So now I want to come into a bit more how the other players come into this. So Wesley, do you think it'll be detrimental for his starting and his style of play for Frankie De Jong to come into this team and even a Martinez to come into this team? Because I see Malacia playing really well with Varane. I see him play really well with Varane, but I don't see him play really well with the likes of Harry Maguire if Harry Maguire starting.
I agree. I totally agree. I mean, of course, it helps him. Like, he knows. I mean, he played lots against what's it called, Martinez. So Martinez is. I mean, I think he's gone a bit under the radar. Like, I'm surprised. I mean, I've seen Arsenal are in for him, and of course we are. And I think I just have a feeling. I might be wrong. Like, I think Ten Hag gives us a little bit of the edge over Arsenal. I think he knows the coach, so I think we will get the deal over the line. Hopefully this week, but let's see. But yeah, for Malacia, of course, it's better. I mean, Martinez is miles better than Maguire, at least from what I've seen. Like, I've seen some comments from Van der Vaart, and those comments were a bit ridiculous. Like, can't pass the ball like from 1 yard away to another teammate. Like that's amateur stuff. Like, so with every player, it's confidence. Like, if you're confident, you have a great player next to you, you're not afraid to pass it to him. So he will take care of the ball and find the solution. And with Maguire, we've seen that he gets exposed a lot. Like he's not very comfortable on the ball. It seems that his price tag or his form or whatever is going on in his head. There's too much pressure. Like he's not the Harry Maguire I think we all expected. And if Maguire is not playing and Martinez is playing, like I know that Martinez, as you said, very calm on the ball, dribbles great into midfield. So yeah, of course that gives Malacia a little bit more composure next to him, and it's very important. But it's for every player. It's going to be important for Wan-Bissaka or whoever plays right back. And Frankie De Jong is also vital. Like the more players you have around you that are composed and calm on the ball, it also gives you a bit of it also calms you down. Like when you're playing, when you're talking to someone who's very energetic, you also get the energy going. Like when someone is more composed, it goes into you. I don't know if I explained this correctly, but yeah, that's how I see it. So it's very vital. I think for him it will do him good if Martinez and Frankie De Jong comes in. Yeah.
NK, I want to pose this question to you that's been playing on my mind. If let's say Malacia does now play majority of the games or starts quite a few of the games, how do you think he ranks with some of our Premier League wingers, the likes of Mahrez, the likes of Saga, the likes of Ziyech, if he stays, which I don't think he will? How do you think Malacia handles with these players? And these are in some aspects world-class players. They're really, really good at what they do. How do you think even Rafinha, for example, and if he doesn't move, if he stays in the Premier League, how do you think Malacia handles them?
Yeah. Well, as I said to you, with the Premiership, with the pace and intensity, is something that he's gonna get used to. But in terms of like his one-on-one defending, he's very good at that. Like when he see them, he position his body in a way where as he kind of like show them into the wings where he's more or less kind of like favorite to kind of like get into the tackle or win like his one-on-one duels too. And as I say, he's very aggressive too. So he'll be like in their face, in their face, literally trying to be like aggressive towards them, kicking them and everything. So it's just that the only bit is the lack of concentration. One even with our fullbacks too. Normally when it's a cross from say the left, the right hand side, and he's on the left hand side, can he have the concentration to be aware of his man kind of like behind him? Because as a team, we've kind of like suffered from that quite a lot. So that is the bit that maybe he might kind of like improve on too. And we know he doesn't have the best of kind of like height to do with that too. But I was reading his stat too, and then aerially, I think he won almost like about 50% of his area duels too. So I don't know how he's doing it too. So maybe it's something that maybe he's positioning his body very well. But as I said to you, it's all about just literally getting used to the Premiership too. But also he will need his teammates to help him out. With one-on-one defending, most of the time the attacking winger is always going to be favorite too. So that's when your left wingers too need to normally help you in certain situations too, especially if the other fullbacks too are overlapping too, so that instead of just like having one player to worry about, there's not kind of like two players kind of like ganging up on him. But I don't see him having trouble in terms of like his one-on-one defending. I saw a lot of him in that kind of like half to show like, look, he can handle it his own, very much so.
I think you hit a really good spot, which is he needs to have that trust around the players around him. Again, an aspect of his game is he when he is dropping in, he drops in a bit too much close to the centre back, trying to protect that, for example, a number 10 or an attacking player, so doubling up with the centre back. Now, if when you're doing that, you're leaving the wing fully empty for an overlap as well, which needs, if you're having a commanding centre back or a commanding goalkeeper, they're the ones that are supposed to direct you, saying you're coming in too much, stay out wide. Because the likes of, for example, Mahrez, when he's bombing it down, or a Man City player, when they're doing the overlap, you're done. Because these boys are fast, and the way they break down teams is it's such high pace. Even, for example, I'm not questioning Malacia's overlap or his speed, for example. He's probably the fastest out of. He is the fastest out of Luke Shaw and Telles. Now, if Malacia does the overlap, and the centre back isn't watching the counter attack. So let's say Malacia does the overlap, we lose the ball. If the centre back doesn't almost predict the counter attack or doesn't see it coming and command the left back or the wing backs to pull back in time, you're in deep trouble. You're in very, very deep trouble.
It's not even about them pulling back in time. It's also about the centre back being aggressive, being able to defend one-on-one, to kind of like buy the whole team as a whole time for them to like drop back, and help defend as a unit. That's why it's very, very key to have those kind of like centre backs who have the pace, who is aggressive too, and who can literally defend like one-on-one too. Because much of the time, when you have like an attacking team that plays kind of like push forward, like Liverpool does that quite a lot of the time too, you're going to be left exposed too. So you need your centre backs to be good one-on-one defending, so that they can literally just help for other players to cover. So it's something that the defenders need to do. They need to have very great communication anyway, because when it comes to defending too, like centre backs need to be great defending in terms of like letting players be aware of their blind side when they can't see certain stuff, that they can see it, to point it out, give them a shout, point them into that. So a lot of the players have to be leaders on the pitch too. So it is going to help him, especially him being new in the Premiership. He will need strong leaders around him to kind of like help him adjust positionally, defending and everything off and on the pitch.
Fair point. No, very fair point. Wesley, what do you think in terms of the centre back commanding and the attack and the attacking aspect of this? Now, if Malacia, we've seen Malacia make really good first time crosses into the box, really, really accurate. You're going to need a lot of runners to be able to chase those balls down. Do you think he'll partner up really well with the likes of Rashford and Martial for next season? Or do you think we'll need to go ahead and get a possible Dybala? This is a question for NK as well, but I'll start off with you, Wesley.
Going straight to Dybala, I think he's a quality player. I think you're a bit absurd if you don't want him. I think he very technical.
On a free as well. On a free.
Yeah. I know the wages, but yeah, I'm not gonna get into that stuff, because we like to overpay or give players a nice contract. So I'm not gonna go into deep depth, because that's a good counter argument. But the player himself, he's full of quality, and of course you want. It all depends if Ten Hag wants it. Like let me set this. Let me be clear. Like if Ten Hag doesn't want him, we shouldn't go for him. Like because he's probably going to be a good commercial signing. It's all about what Ten Hag wants. But I can see why Ten Hag wants him, because he's very versatile. He's quick. He's quick on the turn, and when I've watched Ten Hag quite a lot at Ajax, and he built different squads, and he likes to have players that are quick on the ball, quick turns. So yeah, I would 100% go for Dybala. Although I must say I'm a bit concerned with his injury record lately, so you have to take that in consideration. Going back to the point to the comments of the centre backs. NK touched on a great point, that commanding and leadership from the back. We haven't seen that. In my opinion, we haven't seen that from the back. Like no one is taking responsibility. If you ask me, you need to, as a back four, you're a unit. Like you have to work together. You have to trust each other and command and help each other. And I feel that Maguire doesn't feel comfortable when he's left on his own. And maybe Varane also has a little bit more issues, a lot of issues with it. So that needs to be addressed. It could be coaching, but it's also like how you smell danger. Like it's all in your mind, right? Like when Malacia is pushing forward and Maguire has to have his back. Maguire, you don't want to be in doubt. Should I go in or should I not go in? Like you have to make a decision. Like you either go for it or not. And there's too much doubt sometimes in the defense, which messes up your defending, and you get exposed a lot. So that's going to need to be addressed. But yeah, it's defensive awareness. Like where's the opponent? Like it's constantly you need to have an idea where the attackers are. That's vital. And Martinez is a great example. Was very intelligent. Who knows where the attackers are going to be. When he takes the ball, he's calm, composed, and passes straight forward. And he passes very 1-2 touch pass. Like it doesn't take ages to control the ball. And with Maguire and Varane, both, I'm not going to let Varane off the hook here, both have problems with getting the ball and bang straight into midfield. But then, you also need to have midfielders who want the ball, who ask for the ball. And we don't have that. We don't have that with McTominay. We don't have that with Fred. I mean, Donny is one. Donny always wants the ball. And Frankie De Jong is going to be vital. Like, when you have the ball, you're going to accelerate the attack or the counter-attack, possibly with Frankie De Jong, who can accelerate forward and create something. So that's going to be key.
Let's now deep dive. You mentioned Dybala. Let's address the elephant in the room. This situation with Ronaldo. It's look, you all know I've been very emotional about this situation. This is my goat.
A bit.
I want
a bit or more than a bit.
I wanted him to stay one more season, but it's like no matter what we could do, I don't think it'd be enough for him. I really don't. It's simply because we're and now I think after going through my emotions like this, I think now I've come to realize that it might just be that he's simply not happy. He's simply not happy with the way teams have performed. He's simply not happy where the team is. And you know what, as well, NK, I'm a bit pissed off at him. Like, you knew that we're in this shithole way before the season ended. Let's not even let's give him the benefit of doubt. People saying, "Oh, did he not know when he signed the contract or whatever?" Let's just say no, because we did come second. So just numerically, he might have thought, okay, they clearly did a title charge, and even though it was 10, 15 points behind, doesn't matter. If I come in, I could give him that 10, 15 points. But he knew numerous games ahead that we ain't gonna win nothing, we ain't gonna get nowhere. So why wait the whole of June to kick up a fuss where I saw your TikTok, Ronaldo. I saw you making TikTok. There were no issues then. All of a sudden now you have issues, this, that. Players are getting somewhat advanced talks and signed. Yeah, it's a bit slow, but now it's not enough. It's simply not enough. I don't know what he wants. Does he want us to go and buy 7 players and he wants the big, huge names? I don't know. What I mean, I know, NK, you just wanna part ways, don't you?
Yeah, well, I think, look, when he joined United, you're right. We were second place. Coming back of that, and I think we went to the final of the Europa League. We just bought Rafael Varane. We bought Sancho too. So we can make the argue of the case whether we were ready to challenge for the Premiership or not. But maybe he thought that they came second, so maybe this season, last season, we could have pushed to another maybe second position too, or then maybe go far in the Champions League. And then this season would have been a season where maybe if we add 1 or 2, 3 players to it, we can actually go ahead and win it. But the minute it went wrong, when Oli got stuck and we finished 6th, I think he should have understood that the plan changed, because with a new manager coming inside, with players' contract expiring, that we just let them go. It was always going to be a rebuild, and he knew that, on top of that too, I think we had the lack of Champions League to that. So he knows that whatever the situation was when we joined, we have gone backwards, So whether we sign 5, 6, 7 players is more likely going to make us be where we were last season, or maybe furthermore that. So he should have understood that, to just know that. But I don't believe when he come out and say like, one of the main reasons that he want to leave is because of a lack of transfer activities in June. I think he was waiting to find out what kind of options were out there for him before he kind of communicates that with the club, because you don't go to a club and tell them that you want to leave if there is no one out there to take you on. So whatever his agents, whatever communication they had with Chelsea, is probably encourage him to then go back to the club to just tell the club hey, you know what, I'm not happy. I've been unhappy for several times, and if an acceptable offer come in, I want you to accept it. And that could have been fine too, but him not turning up to training, I think that's what made this whole situation get a bit more worse and very complicated, because you could have just said that, look, if an offer come in, then please consider it, communicate, and just try to negotiate and just like literally get a deal for me. But if a deal doesn't come in, then I'm happy to stay. But him not turning up to training means that there's only one outcome for him now, and the only outcome is for him to leave and continue his football elsewhere, which is a big blow to Man United, to be honest.
Now, I'm going to ask this question to you, Wesley. Do you think Ronaldo is getting too ahead of himself? This is an uncomfortable question, but you have to ask at 37 years old, does this man really think he can go and win another Ballon d'Or or a Champions League? Let's be very real here.
I mean, we all know Ronaldo is a big ego. I mean, he always backs himself. I mean, why shouldn't he? Like the trophies he won, the career he's had. So of course he backs himself. And I mean, can he win? Can he win another Ballon d'Or? I mean, it is a difficult question. If I'm being honest, I'm not sure. I mean, I think he's past that being. I mean, he's still going to be a Ballon d'Or contender if he's in a good side, but football moves on. Like everything moves on, and I think he probably. I don't know if it all. It depends if he's honest with himself, because I think it's very unlikely he's going to win a next Ballon d'Or, because as you said, he's already 37. So I don't think that's very likely. I don't like he's kicking a fuss around here at United. I mean, from his point of view, I can kind of understand it. I mean, we're all, I assume, disappointed with what United have been doing this window. I don't know if it's a lack of preparation, or I don't know. Like I can't comment on that because I simply don't know. Maybe he thought when he came in, like NK said, the players we signed that looked very promising, that he could give us the edge to win at least a trophy, maybe the FA Cup or whatever. And clearly, it completely fell apart. So I can understand his frustration, but I think it's better we need a solution fast. We can't have this dragging on. Like, I think for Ten Hag, I mean, Ten Hag clearly wants him. I truly believe that. If it all depends if Ronaldo wants it. Like, he wants him. Like, Ten Hag knows the value in Ronaldo. You get goals constantly. I mean, it's all about, is he going to be happy? Does he want to be here? It's very important. And I don't think Ten Hag is not a person who is a manager who says, no, you can't go because you're too important for me. He's more a cultural guy, and that's how he's been at Ajax. And you want everyone on the same page. And if someone is kicking up a fuss, you want that sorted out. You want clarity. And he's a very clear man. Like what we've seen, his personality as well is very clear. So we need to get it solved. And it looks like it's probably best. And I feel kind of sad to say this, but I think it's best for both parties to separate and move on. I think it also gives Ten Hag more space for his rebuild. But I'm not against him staying. But as I said, it's all about him. Does he want to stay? Does he want this? That's the main thing.
And Kate, do you think now it not spoils but gives Ten Hag a bit more headache, because he might have already had plans of putting Ronaldo in the squad and planning something to bring more out of Ronaldo? Do you think now it puts some sort of spanner in the works, or do you think actually it gives him more freedom to go and express his team and football the way he wants?
I think it's a bit of a 50-50 here. Ronaldo provide goals and everything. So my guess is that he will probably be thinking, if I come and maybe I play this type of like ways and put him in this kind of a position, I will get goals from him too. His experience too would have been very key for the team. But I would also say the timing too, kind of like, it's also like in the manager's favor too, because they haven't even started like preseason tour yet. So if it's coming to him now that, okay, there's a possibility that he might not be here next season, he can go back onto the drawing board now and say, okay, then he might not be here next season too. So let me see what is out there in the market to bring someone in to replace that, or the players that are there. Let me start kind of like playing in a way where we will play to, let's say, Malacia's strength, or maybe we try Bruno there as a false number 9, or maybe Rashford there too. So if it was kind of like say the season started and he's leaving, then I would be very very worried for the manager. But as of now, I would say yes, it give him time to kind of like go back to the drawing board. The only bit that I don't like is the fact that maybe in his press conference and his interviews, he will spend more time having to answer this question, having to like deal with that, rather than probably like talking about the progress of the team, how the team is just kind of like doing so. The earlier this kind of like surveys, the better it is for the players, for the managers, in terms of like the kind of like questions and the noise that it brings to the club.
Do you think now is this some sort of a double whammy now that Cavani and Ronaldo might go and we're left with no striker?
It's a problem.
No out and out striker as well, by the way.
Yeah.
And yes, I get the Rashford and Martial conversation. I understand, but they're not out and out strikers. Martial most definitely ain't an out and out striker at the moment, is he? So, do you think it's a double whammy for us?
Yeah, the thing is, with Martial, on his day, he can show that on his day, he can have a good season where he can score the goals. The only problem is the consistency and the confidence bit. So if the manager, because he's shown, under Oli, that he had one of his best seasons where he scored the goals too, and he did do well. So it's just all about just having a chat with him, just trying to find out, look, what do I need to do to get the best out of it? What do I need to do to like motivate you to kind of like just do that? Because it might be a case where for this season alone, we might have to depend on him if he's happy to also stay too. And once if that's the case, as a manager, I feel like you need to literally just like sit down and find out what motivates your players too. So it is up to the manager to get the best out of them. And if you feel like he cannot do that, then talk to the club, and then go back on the market and see if you can find whether if it's a short-term solution or a long-term solution. Just kind of like do that. But I feel like it's up to him to right now get the best out of the player too, and the player too need to work hard too.
It's very tough now going and getting an out and out striker in the world of football. No, but if you have a half decent striker, the club ain't want to let go. I just look at it like strikers that are on free, they're on free for a reason. Especially in this day and age.
Is it the same with Dybala though? If I'm being consistent, like he is on the free. Is it?
Yeah, he's on the free. Yeah.
Yeah. So
he's not. But Dybala isn't an out and out.
So
top level,
like if we're looking for a striker, and Ronaldo is
20 plus goal striker though, is he?
No, he's not.
Yeah, but the manager have shown in the past that he can be very tactically adaptable to the place that he got. Like even with Ajax, I remember before they have Hala, Tadic used to play as the first number 9, So he so if it's a case where they want to bring in Dybala, he can literally kind of like do that. I see him play as the first number 9 for Juventus, so I don't see why he cannot do that too. As I said to you, Bruno can do that too, because Bruno
cannot do that.
Scoring,
Bruno cannot do that. Bruno cannot do that.
But that's the thing. You just never know. As I said to you, it's one of the things where he's going on preseason with them, so he have time to kind of like find out whether they can or cannot do it. And he feel like if these players cannot do it, and he needs someone in there to literally help him to achieve the target for next season, which I believe he said that is top 4, then by all means communicate with the club and say, look, it is very important that we get someone to replace Ronaldo so that they can look into the markets and just do that. I mean, the club was able to last season find money out of nowhere to get Ronaldo, so I don't see why they can't find money out of nowhere else to go get another striker or someone else to come and replace Ronaldo.
Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but Ronaldo was just upwards of 10 million, under 15 million, wasn't he? And the sheer amount of T-shirt sales for Ronaldo alone would have paid 5-6 times over. The sponsorships, the branding, the TV revenue, whatever you want to call it, the name Ronaldo, for the money that United paid, it was the most best investment that they could make. And I will not argue with anyone that says it was a PR signing, but it also was beneficial in some aspects. But Now, a lot of people are saying that this is the similar thing Man United doing with Dybala. Dybala might be a, as they say, Glazer signing. What do you think of that, NK? Do you think Dybala would be a Ten Hag signing or a Glazer? I mean, he definitely, in my opinion, doesn't sound like a Ten Hag signing because we've never been linked with him prior.
Yeah, but
So
Dybala
it's very weird.
Dybala is a very technical player, very technical, very good player too. If you take his injury record out of it, I feel like he's a player that Tim Hag, what do you call it, will really, really like. And also, the manager, before he took the job too, he said, look, one of the conditions for me taking a job is to have a say in transfer dealing too. So I don't think the club will go for a player without him approving it too. And whether he's a Glazer signing or commercial signing, look, I always say this. If a manager wants a player and the club is going to go get a player, then we need to take the commercial aspect of that. Means it become the main primary objective is on the footballing side, and then the commercial side to become the secondary too. People talk about Pogba being a commercial signing, but I disagree with that because Mourinho wanted him. And if the manager wanted him, it means that, yes, the footballing reason was number one and the commercial bit was number two. But when he came, because he didn't perform on the pitch to the standard in which we expected of him, then the question then went on to say, okay, then it became a commercial signing too. But I don't think so. I think he's a player that Tim Hag will want. And I don't think if the manager didn't want him, I don't think United will be trying to speak with him. You could make a case that if Eriksen wasn't an ex-Ajax player, people could be saying like, oh, you know what? It's not what you call it. It's not Eric Dybala. They didn't want him. And they just trying to sign a player who is an it's free on the market just to save money.
Look, Dybala is a top baller. His injury, yes, I understand, but he is a world-class player. You cannot take that away from Dybala. What he did a few seasons ago, when he was really clanging and banging, he was, we were linked with him. What is it, 4 seasons ago? And at that time, this guy was just killing the league, where he was at in Juve, and I think for free, you absolutely cannot say no to that. I really do not see any way. Forget the PR. Just look at the player itself. Look at his attributes. Look at his skills. Look at what he can add. It's all about what the player can add, right? For a free, mate, this is an absolute steal. So is Eriksen. I know a lot of people, and which is very weird as well. I want to now shift the conversation to that. Is a lot of people are questioning his heart condition. Like, it's baffling to me that, do you not understand? World-class doctors are signing this man off to be on Premier League, and you have a conversation about and concerns about his heart condition. You really think any team would be paying you upwards of 6 figures a week if you had any slight bit of heart condition? Let's be real. Right? So whoever has this thing about, Eriksen's heart condition, forget it. This man has been signed off to play football, and we know Premier League is so strict about injuries and player health. If you don't know, you go and check what's it called, All or Nothing for Tottenham Hotspur, and you see in that documentary they show Son saying to the medical staff, "I'm okay to play." And Mourinho going to the medical staff saying, sign him off to play. But the medical staff then go on to say, if the FA find out that I've signed you off and I believe you're not fit enough, I will get sacked and the club will be fined massively. So Premier League do not take health conditions lightly. So if you're thinking about his heart condition, well, forget it. This man has been signed off to play full 90 minutes games if needed, and he can't do it. So I don't have any concerns with his health. What I do think is how he will fit into this new style of play and the contract length we're going to give him. These are the little aspects. He's 30 years old. Are we going to give him a 3-year contract till he's 33? And I've been a big advocate of having kind of players around the region of 24, like 20s to just late 20s. I don't really like the idea of 30-year-olds unless you're really world class, right? What are your thoughts on that, Wesley?
I mean, I can see, like, I also prefer like younger players, like there's more prospect in them. You can get more out of them. But also, I would say Eriksen, he knows the Premier League in and out. Very experienced. Ten Hag knows him. Like, it's very simple. Like, Ten Hag really wanted him, and so it's the club made the correct decision. We went for him, like 100%. I'm not buying to this, like that we shouldn't have gone for him. Like, of course, the manager wants him. Then we need to go for him. He's quality, and Ten Hag. I think what I'm noticing now with the players, like he's signing, like it's all about. It's like he doesn't trust the scouting system of United. It's weird. Like I was thinking about it yesterday. Like he's going for Malacia, he knows him. Like he's played against him. He's going for Eriksen. Eriksen, he knows him as well. He's going for Martinez, who is in for. He was the Ajax manager. He coached Frankie De Jong. Like it's like for the first summer, I just want to be bang on with my signings. That's probably what he is thinking. And then we can communicate with the club about the scouting structure. And I can't blame him. Like the club have been dreadful with recruitment, dreadful. And going back to Dybala, I mean, he's a fantastic player. But you said there's no way you're not going to get him if the opportunity arrives. I disagree. I think it's all about if Ten Hag really if Ten Hag wants him, and I hope the structure in the club, the director of football, and all those elements where the manager is part of. If Ten Hag says, what's on the list? This one is my number one target. If that's not realistic and Dybala's in it, then I completely agree with going for him. But we have to be, the manager has to be the leading role. And that's the only thing, if Ten Hag doesn't want him, we should be in for him. But I can kind of see why he wants him. Like, Ten Hag is a very intelligent man, and he knows probably what Dybala can offer to him. So it's going to be interesting, but also you have to take in mind, and that's the same what Cristiano Ronaldo is doing. His agents are always talking. You're like when you're out of contract, it's like those agents. It's their job to find you a new club, to find you a new place where you can develop your career further. So that's what we also have to take in mind. But I just stand by with if Ten Hag wants him, then I think it's a fantastic deal. And if he goes somewhere else, I think he's a fantastic player, and he would be welcome with me. And I'm sure Ten Hag can get a lot out of him. Yeah, for sure. Because he's very.
Yeah, I think Dybala would be a great addition to Manchester United. His style of play, his fast turning, just the fitness aspect. It's just simply the injury aspect. Other than that, there is no concern. He's a humble player. He doesn't get involved with hoo-ha, and you will never see him get involved in all of that. He keeps his head down and he plays football, and he plays really good football. When he's in the mood, he's unstoppable. When he's really in the mood in games, especially big games, he's unstoppable.
But we have to be realistic about. So sorry, I'm interrupting. But
go on.
We have to be realistic about the injury. Like Cavani is a brilliant example. Like we signed him.
Yeah, but Cavani wasn't injured. I'm not buying it. I am not buying it.
Okay, I mean,
honestly, this man. How can you be injured for so long?
Also, a lot of excuses. I mean, there's gonna be so many factors in it, but. He clearly was injured, like for a long time. Maybe not as long as people think, but he was injured and still played a major role in why he didn't play that much. I truly believe that. I mean, I know there are other aspects to why he didn't play, and I don't know if I have the full story, but that's an issue. And we've seen Varane now lately has gone get injured a little bit too much. So you have to take that in consideration. But player-wise, like, it's probably the same with if you compare to Arjen Robben. Like I know Arjen Robben. I mean. What a player he was, and his career was a bit damaged, like with the amount of injuries he gets, and the same with company. So you have to take that in mind. But as you said, on this day, Dybala is fantastic, and he will be welcomed. And I'm sure, he's going to be a great addition if he comes in.
We've seen Varane now; he's training. I've seen clips of him doing the fitness, running, shuttle runs, and all of this, whatever. So he looks okay. He looks fine. He's training hard. NK, I want to bring up Frankie De Jong to you. My friend, my back is hurting. I'm tired. I'm tired of this Frankie De Jong. I need to mute the words advanced talks, key stages. I'm tired. What's going on? Every day Laporte is coming and ruining my mood more and more.
I think it's it's a very unfortunate that United have to kind of like get involved with Barcelona because, as you know, they are in a real financial mess, and we're happy to kind of like just do that. But then the whole deal, I think it's just kind of like dragged on. My understanding is that a deal has been agreed, like they've had like a gentleman's agreement with the deal. But one of the problems, and today too, I think Simon Stone from the BBC, he tweeted it with some money that Barcelona owed to Frankie De Jong. And if Frankie De Jong was to make a move, he wants some of those money to be paid to him because he did take kind of like a wage reduction during the last 2 seasons. And he feel like if he is to leave, they have to pay him some kind of like money. And now one of two stuff makes sense because if you watch the Richard Arnold interview that he done with the group of fans, he did say that there was some kind of a complication with that deal, and then they did send a team there to try sort it out. So it's all about you know what it's I think in the end, I think it's gonna come whatever problem it is, they're gonna do that. I just want Man United to literally take the command of it to say, hey, whatever plans you kind of like have going on, we want you to come now. So let's literally sit down and sort this thing out as soon as possible so that we can have you, what do you call it, at the club playing ball so that we can just do that. But all this kind of stuff too, I think it's more kind of like a legal kind of like things where lawyers need to get involved and everything like that. So it can be a long process too. So it's a question of whether how long can the fans be patient for him? How long can the club kind of like keep on playing this kind of like game with Barcelona and Frankie De Jong himself? I'm where I am is that he's a quality player, and whether we get him now or end of the window, he's going to be a player that is going to be very very massive to Man United in terms of like what we're trying to achieve, kind of like going forward. So if it means I have to wait until the end of August for him to come, I'm happy to, as long as the club just know that by the end of the window they are going to get their man. That's what that matters to me. But if that's not the case, then they need to communicate that and just start making different plans.
Let me tell you my two things on Frankie De Jong. The first thing is I really don't want to blame Manchester United anymore. I don't. Manchester United went in with the deal. They even increased their bid, and now they're looking at more money. Laporte is being a stingy cunt. That's what he's being. I swear to God, I've had enough of Barca. I don't like Barca as it is, and now I properly don't like Barca. Like I don't want to say the hate, but I really, really do not like Barca anymore. They pissed me off. Barca, at the start of the window, if anybody remembers, I sat down today and I went through all these Ornstein and Fabrizio, here we go, and Sky Sports. I scanned all their stuff. And before this whole situation, when we initially started the talks, the number one thing was Barca have to sell, Barca will sell, Barca need to sell. Let's not forget all this. These were the three main things that Barca have to, must, and will. All these Twitter, all these media outlets were saying Frankie De Jong is up for sale. They need to sell to make the books, to balance the books, to be in positive because they cannot afford to be in negative. Okay, Man United go and put a bid in. Okay, now Barca start doing X, Y, Z. They've even gone and signed a player. They've even gone and put in talks for Lewandowski. I forgot the name of the player they signed, but they even signed a player and introduced him to the club.
Yes,
and then came the deadline day of June 30th. All this month of flirting, whatever, advance. And we've heard advance talks 4 weeks ago. Let's not forget that we're hearing advance talks this week. We heard this 3 or 4 weeks ago. Advance talks, they start, personal terms won't be an issue. All of this we've heard. Come June 30th, they've had their big meeting. They've had their YouTube donations. And all of a sudden, literally a couple of days later, Laporte comes out and says, boom, we're not looking to sell. When he was the same person, and media outlets were saying this, that Frankie De Jong is up for sale. Something is going on here, more so than the transfer itself. I think Barca, more so bluffing, are firstly trying to squeeze Man United for the money. They're trying because he's saying, oh, there are other clubs who are interested, but we really don't want to sell this, that, the other. They're really being bastards with this deal. Either They want the money or they don't want the money. There's no in between. They either have balanced the books and something's happened with the 25-year, 25% TV deal and the Spotify, whatever it is, and they've got enough peas now. So nobody actually knows. I don't know, NK, if you want to educate me and
No,
you know the
but because
numbers.
even look, the president, he's a very political guy. He done the same thing with Messi last year too, where he was talking about. If you read some of the things that he say, he always make a big bold statement, and then in the end, he just ended with that. But obviously, when people post it, they don't post the whole thing. Even the Frankie De Jong one, he said, "Look, I will not. He's not for sale. I will do anything in my power to make sure that he stay." And then he talk about, oh, he need to take a wage reduction too. And then today too, he did, because they've been trying to sign Rafinha and Lewandowski too. Today he came out to say, look, we are trying to sign certain players too, but we cannot do that now. So the players just need to be patient and just wait for us to look. All he's just doing is, as I said to you, he's like a politician. He has to say stuff in public to save face, so that when things go wrong, he can say, look, publicly, this is what I said. But obviously, what happened privately is a whole kind of like different conversation too. And I also read that, look, United, like, they are kind of like relaxed by it, and they're not really kind of like taking what he's saying in public too much. Kind of, they're not paying it that as attention to. So if you are someone who kind of like do your research and kind of like just do a bunch, like a lot of the reading too, you will know that's how he is. Like, a lot of Barcelona fans were very shocked that Messi had to leave last season, because throughout the whole summer, all he was talking about is like, oh, Messi is very important to the team. I will do everything in my power to what do you call it, to sign him. Where Messi finished Copa America, went on holiday, and then came back, and all of a sudden, boom, out of nowhere, it's like, we cannot register you, you know. So it's just one of those ones. As I said to you, with this kind of a thing, just do your research, just literally do your reading, and just know who is saying what, you know. But there's different kind of like things. Like, United side, they say, look, we come, there's an agreement in place. And then from the Spanish side, we say, like, look, he's not for sale, other teams are involved. Like, it's just too many kind of like stuff that's coming from him. I wouldn't take him seriously. Only time will tell. Only time will tell.
Let's see.
Yeah,
I hope
it
Man
is.
United. Sorry, Wesley. I hope Man United don't fall into this and go and pay another 10 mil extra to make the deal happen, to keep the fans happy. I think I'm at a point now, where I'm okay. I'm okay with just squeezing Barca right to the end and see what happens. Because these guys, don't forget, they have the end of July as well to send in their books, don't they? They have to send in their books by the end of July. If they're not in the positive, they're done. So they need to be in the positives one way or another. There's Dembele, there's this, that, and they also want to bring in players, because then the La Liga will tell them how much money they can spend. So they've got their own headaches. Frankie De Jong, here's the offer, here's the way, whatever. You're interested, you take it. You're interested, don't take it. But then, if that's the case, I think we need to be slowly start thinking of alternatives. Because if you don't think of alternatives, Barca will keep thinking that we'll pay the extra 10 million. I swear to God. If we're not going and flirting with an alternative, Laporte knows that we want him so bad. Man United will, to keep the fans happy, they'll go and pay the extra 10 mil and make it an 80 million signing. Whereas I'm happy for it to be 65, 70. I'm happy with that. Let's talk a bit more now about Eriksen. I'm hearing that he's done his medical today, and he's going to be announced this week sometime. Again, I don't buy it. I think it's bullshit. Until I see on Man United Twitter page, I'm not believing shit. I don't care. You'll laugh all you want. Unless I see it on Man United Twitter, I ain't believing shit, because I have too much PTSD from Manchester United and too much PTSD from Fabrizio and all these guys. I'm tired of here we go. One person says here we go, I'm gonna slap him. Let's talk. I want to just, because we're coming to the end of the show, Neymar to Manchester United. Wesley, what are you saying? Yes or no?
I think you're in dreamland first, but but of course, if the opportunity arises, like why wouldn't you take him? But that's like as I said, it's dreamland. I mean, if I'm correct, like I don't know if I'm correct, but I saw that this contract has been extended by so many more years, so that's never going to happen. But yeah, if he was available, like, of course, why wouldn't you take him? Fantastic player, one of the most enjoyable players to watch. Like, his movement, his speed, like, he's a joy to watch. Like, so, one downside to him is it's his moaning, and I don't like that. Same with Fernandes. It triggers something in me which I don't like at all. I think it's childly behavior. But yeah, of course, like Neymar, when he's available, like, he should be in, but he's not coming.
NK?
Well, Neymar is a very good player. Good player. One of the best talents
Man
out
said
there.
Neymar is a very good player, you know.
He's world class.
Good.
Good, excellent.
You
Whichever
purposely
way,
want to piss me off, don't you?
whichever way you want to describe him. Look, he's an exciting kind of a player. He will entertain players with his dribbling. On his day, he's one of the best players out there. My only thing about it is, like, look, we've had this Ronaldo thing where player power seems to be trembling. You know, I always say, I don't want players where in their way they feel like they are bigger than the club because of like the commercial kind of like aspect that kind of like coming. You know, there are certain players, as I said to you, Ronaldo is a player where when he kick off, the manager is not the one who decides his fate. The board have to decide, the owners have to decide that. I feel like Neymar kind of like fall into that kind of like bait where if he comes and as a manager you're not happy with him, in a way you cannot say, hey, I don't want Neymar, so I want him. I feel like it's gonna be something that the club kind of like have to do, and I tend to want United to kind of like stay away from any player that makes the manager kind of like not have control over the situation. So just for that alone, I would probably like say no to that deal. But if it wasn't a case where the club was going to put him ahead of the manager, then I say, look, why not? You know, especially if Ronaldo is going. If Ronaldo can score 18 goals, I don't see why Neymar cannot increase that too, or whatever he's going to play. I don't see why he cannot do same thing that Ronaldo do, or even better.
Look, if Neymar is available, listen, I would take Neymar in a heartbeat. Absolute, no question. Even if it's for 1 year.
So that you will cry when he decides to leave.
Same with Ronaldo.
You know me too well. You know me too well. Listen, I'm just a fan of football at the end of the day. I'm a fan of Manchester United, but I'm also a fan of football. And can you imagine Neymar in wearing a red top? That I can only dream. I can only dream. But it's not going to happen, is it? It's not going to happen. I'm just dreaming. But look, it's been a really nice talking to you too. It's been good to break down Malacia. It's been good to break down all the issues that are going on still at the moment in Manchester United. It's not the most smoothest transfer window. I think things will smoothen out a lot more once I think the Martinez deal is done. I have no idea, and I don't want to dive into the Anthony deal just yet. I know that they've made a bid of 51 million as of today, haven't they? I think they have.
Yeah, they have. But
they have?
Yeah, they've sent in a bid for 51 million.
Yeah, I've seen, but
just a few hours ago.
I honestly think if we're gonna buy Martinez, I think Ajax gonna close doors. I don't think they're gonna sell. Like,
do you think it's Martinez?
Offer? Like, I truly believe that.
Do you think it'll be Martinez or Anthony, or do you think it'll be both and close door?
I think one of both. Unless there is an option both can go, as I said. I think you can get Martinez around 50 million euros, as Mike Verwij, great journalist from the Telegraaf, I said before, the Ajax want 50 million guaranteed. Whether you do it through add-ons or structures, like, I don't know. I can't see. I mean, I know Ajax too well. Like, they're very clever with selling players, and I can't see them letting Anthony and Martinez go both through the door and then close the door, unless there's going to be an insane offer they can't refuse. But I don't think United are going to be that stupid to pay 70, 80 million euros. So I don't think that's going to happen. I think we need to prepare for a different player on that.
But also too, I feel both players too are pushing for the move. Martinez, I don't know, from what I've seen, I think they said that he didn't report to training today. The pictures that was coming out, I didn't see his picture inside, and he's made it clear to the club that he want to leave too. And I'm not sure about Anthony too, but he also looked like, because they were, what do you call it, from the reports, it looked like his team told the club that they want him to kind of like negotiate a deal with, what do you call it, with United. So it might be a case where, as I said to you, this transfer, it might not happen straight away, but I think in the long run, it probably will be in Ajax's best interest to kind of like meet us in the middle ground, because they don't want to keep players who are unhappy to be there. So I don't know. I would just kind of like wait and see what kind of like go on. Because the fact that with Rafinha being available, with Dembele being available, United have not literally tried to sign any of these wingers. Like, they haven't tried to sign any of it just tell me that maybe they are more kind of like confident with them getting like the Anthony Dale over the line too. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
You can be right, NK. I mean, you can be right. I mean, you're right. Both players are pushing, and that might give United the edge to make a deal for both. But I would say that Tagliafico, who's now only for a few million quid on the market, left back, Argentinian. I think it's a great example to use him, because he wanted to leave last season, and he was guaranteed a word from Overmars, which is the director of football at Ajax at the time. And he said, okay, you've been fantastic for this club, you can move. But then all sorts of players left. And then he said, you're too vital for this. We don't want to lose most of the core of the players. And Anthony doesn't really need to leave. Like, he's still fantastic. And the manager, Schreuder, who's now a coach at Ajax, he values him a lot. So there's still a possibility, but I would say highly unlikely both would leave. That's what I'm going to say. I'm not going to say it's impossible, very highly unlikely. I'm going to say Martinez. I truly believe that's going to happen. I mean, he's going to leave, whether to us or to United or to Arsenal. And then I think it's going to be Frankie De Jong, Martinez, and then God knows what we're going to sign next. But I think Frankie De Jong is going to drag on for a while. We all know it's a circus. I just hope with Frankie De Jong to quickly jump onto that. To say it is a circus. I just hope Man United stay composed, because they should have taken the decision earlier. Like, give him an end date. If we want Frankie De Jong for this amount, and if you're not taking it, we're going to move on. Like, be strict.
Yes.
Like, spend your time better. We haven't done that, so that's another learning curve for the board and whoever is involved in negotiations. But now I think it's important for the board and for Murter to be composed. Like, we know everyone's trying to get the Mickey out of United, who always overpays. I think we've done a great deal with Barcelona from the reports what I've seen. I know it's always advanced talks, all that shit. I mean, all I want is to get this saga over and done with. It's one of the baddest examples of how to to get a deal over the line. But the offer we have on table, if I'm correct, is probably 65 million euros and 20 million euros and add-on, something like that. I think it's very, very reasonable. I think it's a good offer, and United should stick to their guns. And I don't think that. I think, as I said, Barca are playing a circus, and they're just gonna. He doesn't want to look as a bad president, Laporta. So I think the deal's gonna be.
And let's not forget, Barca owe Frankie De Jong tens of millions.
Yeah,
let's not forget. Which
and
is
his
a very
wages
crucial
increased
thing.
by the year too. So if he stays, if he doesn't take the wage cut, which I don't believe he will, because it will be significantly low. And one thing to that is just a big thing is, Barca are here trying to get the players to take a wage cut, but then they have money to be buying other players like Lewandowski and Rafinha. So as a player, it's like, why should I take a pay cut when you have money to spend buying all these kind of like players too? So it is just one of those ones too. Let's just pray that it just get sorted out, and at some point during the tour, he can go and join the team some point during the tour and just literally play, because we want to see him at Man United fan. We want to see how the team is going to look getting into the season, and the earlier they sort the transfer, the better it is for us, the fans, to kind of like get used to what to expect next season.
It'll be, look, if we should just, firstly, whilst the Frankie De Jong pot is cooking, go and tell Ajax, here's 110, give me both. Stop messing about with me. Close your door. You've lost Gravenberg. You've lost Haller. You're going to lose two more. Them two don't want to come to your club. Let's keep it simple. Let's close the shop. And as well, Ajax have probably got, and please, this is out of no disrespect, Ajax have probably got an amazing academy where they've got another new Gravenberg cooking in there. They've got, bless you, they've got another Anthony cooking in there. They've got Martinez cooking. Their academy is probably one of the best in the world.
I mean, with their midfield, they got a player called Taylor, which I saw him last season. He's very, very good. So I think he's gonna slot straight into the midfield this season too. So, and if what do you call it? If Martinez leave, obviously they got a new left back now. So what's gonna happen is I think Blend is gonna move back to centre back and then play next to Timber. So they more or less kind of like got it covered too. And then with Anthony too, they signed that player too from Tottenham.
Bergwijn.
Bergwijn too. So in terms of a replacement, I think they got a replacement more or less kind of like there too. Because if not, then I don't see where is Bergwijn going to kind of like play. Is he going to play on the? Is he going to play on the left whilst Anthony is there? So it's just. I don't know. Only time will tell. But I don't know. Some people just told me they wanted to kind of like some of the replacement. They are kind of like doing that in a way too. So let's wait and see. But yeah, Van der Sar, we just need to. Van der Sar will not do United like that. He knows it's important, but just Tim Hag just call him, just tell him Van der Sar, hey, you know what, sort us out.
Yeah, they need to cash in. They need to cash in. The amount that they're gonna be receiving now, they won't be receiving next year. That's for 100% sure. Yeah, they won't. Unless Ajax go and do some serious damage in the Champions League or whatever, they won't. So they need to just cash in now. It's the perfect time. They probably dilly-dallying, like I say, for 5-10 million. You know how Ajax sell their players. But it will be interesting to see. Listen, if we now, Malacia is here, Martinez, Anthony, Eriksen is guessing this week, and then who else?
Frankie De Jong.
De Jong.
And De Jong. Hey! Listen, boys. Nah, listen. Listen, let me sum it up this way. Unless it's on Manchester United Twitter and MUTV, I ain't believing shit. Forget the here we goes and everything. Listen, Wesley, big up yourself for giving me your time. NK, big up yourself for giving me your time. Yeah, their social media is down below. Make sure is that on your side, NK?
Yeah, they'll find me. Yeah, I'll put it in there. NK Deco TV. I'll put it in there. Yeah.
No, I got your social media. I got your Twitter.
Okay,
already.
Yeah, that's definitely mine. Yeah.
I can hear police sirens. They're probably looking for Gatsby. If you know who Gatsby is, you know who it is. But
it's somewhere in the area.
But yeah, big up yourself, boys. And listen, if you've tuned in with me today, thank you very much. Big up yourself. We'll be back again with another stream this time next week. And yeah, let's see how things progress. And if you want to follow me and watch my hoo-ha emotional self, you can do. But please make sure go and follow Wesley and go and follow NK, who talk a lot more sense than me because I'm just emotional and irrational.